Listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 five-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. Go time.
I hear some beats.
What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sunday. Let me go and introduce the crew. We got the real Precious, Jay, a story to tell, Luis, Mistaken, Hink, and me, myself on Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Happy Sunday.
Sunday, y'all.
What's going on, y'all? Yeah, I like them glasses, Luis, man.
Yeah, I know.
The heater blockers on.
There's actually a little bit more to me to story behind these shades. My right eye is a little bit swollen, so
man, it ain't so, Luis.
Yeah, so I had to find a way to mask it.
Well, if you ever need, go ahead.
Luis was doing that Terminator X.
All right. Well, it's good to see you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's very important you do so. That's how you able to help the channel out. That's all the support that we ask for. We do understand that some people go over and beyond and they super chat. Those are welcome too. We got Green Gang. That's who we got in the chat. Marquise Keys, MJ, no, it's Miss Jill, 1991, Ed Hill, Marquise Keys, Treese. Shout out to all the Green Gang that's in the chat. If you want to become part of Green Gang, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. Just go ahead and click that and go green. So how's everybody's Sunday going so far?
So far, so good. Supposed to be going out later, so I'm excited. Yay!
Going out later?
That mistake.
Is it a date night?
That's what I was gonna say. So I'm kicking off spring break. My husband gets so mad when I go on break for work because he still has to go to work, but then all of a sudden I get all of this energy and I'm like, let's do this. Come on, let's do it. He's like, Ninja, I still gotta go to work. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to chill this weekend. Yesterday, I'm working on the yard. Today, I'm like, let's go and do something. I was like, all right, make plans for tonight, So, yeah.
Okay.
Shit.
All right.
It's on and popping. Hey.
Shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Remember, he got to work tomorrow.
I know. I said I'd take it easy.
Don't wear him out too much.
Oh Lord, what we talking about now?
Get him to sleep by 10. Yeah.
Right.
Like, at least you have good 4 hours of sleep anyway.
Right.
Is it a 10 o'clock curfew?
I'm getting up cooking. You want me to make you a grilled cheese sandwich? You want me to do? I'm just like amped. I got so much energy. He likes it but hates it at the same time.
I know he gonna get lunch at work every day this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I was already planning. I was like, all right, so what day?
Yeah.
I know that's right. Yes, sir.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Is anybody else doing anything special today? Any big plans or just the usual?
Usual. I have a show later.
Man, it's beautiful outside, man. I might go cruising today, man. I'm about to shine the old school up. Get them
What's
going.
the temperature where y'all at?
I'm in the 70s, baby.
You in the 70s?
Yeah,
Same here
in Jersey. Yeah.
It's a heat wave.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Hank. You said old school. What kind of old school you got, Hank?
Chevy Impala, 1975.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Is it hooked up?
Oh yeah, blue, white rag top, blue and white interior. Yes, sir. Calm down.
Man, send me a picture on IG. Let me see. Check it out. See how it look, man.
I got you.
Yeah, think with the old school. Well, hit the like button, family, if you haven't already. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel again. See, we got a new member that became a member as we were doing that conversation right there. Hiriam Lapeef. Did I say that right? Hiriam Lapeef. We'll go there. Hopefully, I pronounced it right. Shout out to you.
I think it's Hiram. I know somebody named Hiram who spells
well, Hiram, my apologies. Hiram Lapeef became a member. Salute to you, sir. Thank you for that. Let's go and get this show started. So hopefully, everybody else that's watching, hopefully, you guys, Sunday is going good so far. It's officially afternoon for most folks. Maybe Pacific may be, Pacific still may be morning for them. But wherever you're watching from, and even the people that's out the country, we got a lot of UK folks that watch this later. Hopefully, you enjoy your Sunday, whichever part of the day it is. Even I was about to say something, but I ain't gonna say it. Just enjoy your Sundays, family. Enjoy your Sundays. With that being said, let's go ahead and open up our first topic, which is they will only know my worth if I know my worth. They will only know my worth if I know my worth. I do have a video. Sometimes I can just put this out there and people may not understand exactly where that question came from. But when I heard it, it made me think about the people that are in marriages and in relationships in particular, not the folks that's dating, right? And when I say relationships and marriages, of course, is long term, but serious relationships where you guys have been dealing with each other is on a whole nother level. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. Just want to set the context, the foundation of how I looked at this, and then after the video, we'll go ahead and have the discussion.
If I had it my way, I want a man that loves me, cherishes me, values me, but they have to know my value in order to value me. They have to know my worth, and they can only know my worth if I know my worth. Mm-hmm. I want them to respect me, but I want fun times. I want fun times. I want laughs. I want laughs more than anything.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that stood out in that particular video. And I'm all about having a conversation because I think we got to have a conversation from both sides. She said fun times. Fun times stood out in the topic right here. They will only know my worth if I know my worth. So just picture your wife or your serious girlfriend leading up to marriage, and she sees her worth, her value to be something within that relationship. Her worth or her value is not being highlighted. It's not being used. Her potential that she could offer you, it's not being utilized. So that's what I really want to kind of key in on that. Who wants to go first to tackle this? Okay, I'll just pick somebody then. Go ahead, Jay. What are your thoughts about it? It's like school.
Nah, I mean, I think you are limiting a person if you don't execute their strengths, if you don't know their worth to execute their strengths. I feel like they'll eventually resent you for it, because they'll feel like they've been sitting dormant when they could have been utilizing a skill that they have, or utilizing something that, they say if you don't use it, you lose it. So they will eventually resent you for it if you don't acknowledge their worth. And I mean, I guess in the context of a relationship, I feel that on any side that would breed resentment because somebody wants to be appreciated for what they bring to the table. And if you're not acknowledging those capabilities, then you're wasting them. You're wasting their time.
Okay. The Real Precious. What are your thoughts about it? They will only know my worth if I know my worth.
I agree with that statement. You have to know your worth in order for somebody else to know it, honor it, appreciate it, celebrate it. You have to know your worth, and it's not about being cocky or being puffed up. It's about your results. And when you can see your results and somebody else can see your results, you want them to be able to celebrate and acknowledge that. You also want to be able to move in purpose as well when we talk about relationships. So my worth may not be worth, someone may not see my worth in their life as worthy. I believe that women are helpmates, so you can't help everybody. You can only really help your husband, and you guys are tailored to be together. But that person does need to know their worth, and not be discouraged if somebody else doesn't see their worth or doesn't acknowledge it. But to keep going, and to, like I said, as a helpmate, you're designed to help your husband, not every man or everybody that you come across. So you also have to realize that too, and be able to reserve things and allow that to be a part of your worth.
All right. Luis, what are your thoughts about it?
They will only know my worth if I know my worth. Well, I really agree and really like what Precious laid down. I think, unfortunately, one of the pillars that a lot of people tend to kind of miss in the conversation of getting to know people is understanding what are their greatest strengths and attributes, and how do they enhance the quality of life of their partners or the people around them, right? What does that look like and how does it show up? Some people are really great at multitasking. Some people are really great at delegating. Some people are really great at having those tough conversations and holding people accountable close to them. And unfortunately, people's work sometimes does get overshadowed. So how does that show up for people to have that conversation? Like, this is my worth and this is how I want to be, garnered, how I want to be respected. And I think having that conversation sometimes gets missed because I agree. One of the parts that people can get resent is because they could do so much more in a marriage, in a relationship, but unfortunately, they don't play to people's strengths. And I think that the relationship doesn't really grow or flourish the way that it can be if that was to happen from the very beginning. So I think that having that pillar conversation is very, very, very insightful in order to make that relationship or marriage grow.
All right. Brother Hink, I'm coming to you, sir. They will only know my worth if I know my worth. What are your thoughts?
I don't know about that, man. I mean, there was times in my life when I didn't realize my value, and it wasn't until a lady who I was dating shared that with me and brought it to my attention. I'm thinking I could do that. I wasn't thinking about doing nothing like that, but I would. And one was start mentoring young men. I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think I was being a positive influence on young men, but she was sitting back watching me and see how they was interacting with me, especially in my classroom setting, and how they would just gravitate to me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, I do this teaching thing, not full time or part time with it, but I do like helping them out. So she's seen something in me that I, again, I didn't see to even think about starting mentoring kids outside of just, the regular teaching thing. So sometimes that could be the case, but eventually a man or a woman, a person should be able to know their worth, and they may not always recognize all their worth. They may be just a partial. There might be some aspect of your worth you didn't acknowledge just yet. And sometimes it may take somebody outside of yourself to bring it out in you or to reveal it to you. So that's possible. I mean, again, I had a mentor bring it to my attention. I am like, okay, he's the reason I got into teaching, because of him. And he's seen, as me volunteering and doing little things like that, won't you, get into teaching? So he got me into that. But it wasn't to a girl I was seeing got me into mentoring kids and coaching kids. Well, of course, not coaching like what some of y'all may think. I'm actually coaching football. So it was that really encouraged me and helped me really get to this point where I'm at right now, and still, talking to kids, helping young men out, and do what I do now. So,
all right, mistaken. They will only know my worth if I know my worth.
I agree with that statement, but also kind of understand what Hank was saying as well. Sometimes, especially the younger you are, the less I would think you have a grasp on what your worth or your value is, especially if you come from a background of, in an area that, when you look around, doesn't seem like there is much value, or if you're coming from a dysfunctional family. Some of those situations can skew how you value yourself. And so I do think, it's very important to have an understanding of maybe some baseline values or intrinsic, values that you have. And then based on that should kind of guide the people that you allow in your space. But to what Hank was speaking to, I could just think of myself personally, like when I had met my, well, he's my husband now, but when I met him, there was just so many things about me, the way that he saw me, that I didn't understand because I didn't see what he saw in myself. So I think it's very important sometimes that, to recognize that the way we see ourselves, not all the time people see us the same way. And sometimes that can be positive and sometimes it can be negative.
All right, I got a couple follow-up questions, and I think Hink and Mistaken probably touched on a little bit. So if you spoke on it already, if you know you have, then you don't have to answer this question. But unless you want to add to it. The follow-up question is it up to the men to help discover her worth or value if she doesn't know? I'm assuming a man would know his value. I couldn't really see. Well, I guess it could be both sides, because there are some things that a woman can't see in a man that he may not see. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Is it up to the man or the woman to help discover the other person's worth or value if they don't see it?
I think so. I think that, like Hank and Mistaken said, sometimes you just don't see it, and it takes the other person to see it. It's written that two are better than one. So the things that you don't see, the other person is going to see. And if, you're humble enough to take that advice, if you're humble enough to take the insight, I think it would do, a world of wonder. But a lot of people aren't that humble. Some people are very, egotistical, or pride gets in the way for women. But again, two is better than one. So sometimes it does take for somebody else to say, I see this in you. I'm going to push you. I was on a live the other night, last night. And at the end, it was a call for someone to, head up a show. And the girl said, well, I don't, I'm new in this space. I can't, pretty much like, I can't do it. I need you to, help me. And there was a guy on the panel that said, no, you can do it. You can do it. You do it by doing it. And so sometimes you do need people to see that you have a good thing, that you are a good thing. And they want to, help you shine. They want to help you grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. And vice versa from a man or from a woman to a man. Because I'll always say we're here as helpmates. So there are going to be things that we see in men that they're not going to see. They're blind spots.
Precious, I have a follow-up question, and we got a couple women on the panel. If any women on the panel want to hop on, let me know. I could use a couple more women just to kind of balance it out. But Precious, is it attractive if a man understands his value and knows his value versus you happen to tell him, or it doesn't matter to you? If you see something in there, you just got to let him know.
It's attractive if he knows, again, I'm a helpmate. Okay. I'm gonna help you, which means that you know where you want to go. You have your plan, but then there are times where you need that help. The CEO have people who delegate jobs and tell people what to do, so they don't necessarily have to do all of that. So yeah, it's attractive for you to have that vision, that plan, and it's my job to be there to help you. I'm not there to change it. I'm just there to help.
Okay. All right. Ms. Taken, you can answer those questions about is it attractive for a man to know his worth and its value versus you happen to highlight it for him. And then if anybody else want to ask those additional questions I have before then hop in.
I would say it's definitely attractive. And I can honestly say that was one of the things that attracted me to my husband, because I never saw anything like that before. Like, he was very different outside of, guys that I had, saw or in relationship with, is the fact that he came with an identity of self. He knew who he was and he stood on that. And that was very attractive. But I think as the older you get, you go through different experiences. And sometimes there may be situations that will make you dig even deeper to learn aspects about yourself that you didn't know. And I can say that I was thankful for actually being a part of that growing, process, and recognizing that as well, because it was typically one direction, him feeding into me a lot, because I had no idea of my inherent value and self-worth, other than what I was reinforced for, which was looks, you know what I'm saying? And that was it. So I played on that. But for him, it was like, your looks, not to say he didn't find me attractive, but that wasn't a priority of his. His was, like you said, the value. What value would you add to me being with you? Because looks as a dime a dozen, I've had that. But what makes you different? And so from that aspect, I'll definitely say that, he fed into that. And because as I begin to see more of who I am and my value, it also opened up me to be able to look at him even more differently and be able to pour and add into that as well.
I got another question I want to pose to the panel real quick, because I see in the chat, people don't even know what worth looks like, what value looks like within a relationship, what somebody has to offer. So if somebody asks you like what value, let me see how to phrase this, because I've heard this question before. Have you ever told somebody that you've made their life better on the panel, or that you've added to their life, that you brought value into their life? You guys have?
Have I told them no?
Yeah, I never said it to them, but I could see them shining, and I'm like, look
okay,
what I did.
So it can kind of come off to some people as being arrogant. Oh, really? You really, like, I thought I brought more value to your life. No, I brought more value to your life. So if somebody was to ask you that question, or they pose it out there, and then they followed up by saying, okay, what value did you bring in my life? How have you made my life better? How have you made my life a little bit more worthy? How would you respond to that? And it don't have to be to your present relationship. It can be something that you've mentioned before, or maybe you might know somebody else. So it don't have to be personal. But I'm just curious to try to set a foundation as far as what worth and value looks like from a person when they have to when they offer it to someone or when they add it to someone's life.
I mean, I've said, yo, look at your checkbook. You know what I mean? Like it's balanced. You know what I mean? Like you know what you bringing in, and you know what's going out, and you know what you can afford to spend. Look at your skin. You know, it's awesome. You're drinking a lot more water. You know, you're not just chugging down cherry cokes. You know what I mean? Like small stuff. You know, look at your bed sheets. Look at your washcloths, yo. They not just the water just ain't bouncing off of them. You know what I mean? Like they got Rain-X on them. They actually absorbing water. Like, you know, it's small
Good
stuff like
Greg.
that people
Good
would take
Greg.
for granted. but
But but Jay, what if she doesn't value that? You know, what if she? I mean, she might respond by saying, "I can do that myself."
if she
Well,
doesn't value, I mean, if she doesn't value that, you about to go ahead. I mean,
no,
well,
go ahead, go
if
ahead,
she
go ahead.
if she doesn't value that, then and no, and there are more things. You know, those are just the minute things, but
But Jay, she's asking, "What are those things?" You said that you
Mhm,
brought value to her life,
mhm,
that you made her life better.
right.
What have you done?
Cars ain't on. Cars ain't getting towed. Food
I
is
see where
being.
you're coming from. I see where you're coming from, JR. I mean,
You see,
if Jay, if I may cut in for 1 second, I think one of
Yeah,
the things
I
that I
think
would.
Jay might need a lifeline on this one. Hey, just kind of sit back because it's a real good question. I was asked that question before, and you really have to think about it because it's almost asking like, "What does a guy bring to the table?"
You know what I'm
You
saying?
know,
Yeah. I think one of the things that Jay hit on, but like I know he just kind of went into like the receipt aspect. I would just say structure and order. A lot of people do not have structure or upside down. You know, if your house is not in order, then you are yourself is not in order. And so thereby proxy, your mind cannot be in order. Because if your space isn't at peace or or your life isn't peaceful at all, how could you think about or be able to be a sponge to let in new information and knowledge, new critique? You know what I'm saying? That part of your life has to be in order. You know what I'm saying? Just look at how people, you know, live and how they eat and how they treat themselves, right? You know, one of the things I always ask, like, how do you take care of yourself? How do you treat yourself? You know what I'm saying? And that's very important because how you take care of yourself tells me how you balance out everything around your life. And sort of if somebody comes in and brings order, structure, discipline, and shows you what those things look like and how to maximize your day, maximize your time to put you in the best circumstance for you to flourish, you know, mentally, physically, financially, right? And what those things look like, you know, like Jay talked about, like, you know, balancing the checkbook. Those are just getting into the weeds, but just overall structure of what you need to do day to day in order to be in the best mindset. And a lot of people take for granted of what that looks like until somebody comes into their life and shows them.
okay, go ahead.
Well, let me say that I guess when you was talking about earlier, has anyone ever said, what was the question? Has anyone ever brought some type of something to your life? Is that what you said, JR? You said it was
Um,
kind of ego
I
and
mean, just to kind of paint the picture, right? You may have somebody that just may mention, you know, I've changed your life. Oh, really? And you just guys just have a
Yeah,
discussion.
I said it before. I had said it before, and I had no problem saying it again. I changed your life. I blessed you. First of all, if I bless you with my goddamn last name. I brought you like my man Louis said. I brought you structure and direction. Now you know how to talk and interact with a man. Whereas before you had problems interacting with your man. Now you understand how do you deal and have a conversation with your baby father without being disrespectful. And if it does get disrespectful, you also know how to let that phone be turned over to Hink, and Hink will handle it from there. So now you have aware of how to take care of your home properly, the inner home as well as your exterior home. You know that there's certain things that need to be done around the house that I can handle that. I bless you with that ability to rely on me to do it. So I'm reliable, I'm dependable, I'm here for you. I'm here for your security purposes. You don't have to worry about nothing. That porch light will be on. My motion sensor is on and cameras are always working. So you have nothing to worry about. You have security. And now, as far as financially, I'm blessed financially. I have multiple homes. I have multiple incomes. I believe in investing properly. I believe in a one-pot method. So even if your income is not as good as mine, we're going to be well taken care of, because I believe in we come together as one. So financially, I'm taking care of you. So those are the few things that I'm changing in your life. I'm blessing your kid with structure and a father figure in their life. That's another blessing I've given you that you didn't have before. You're welcome.
All right. That's a mic drop right there.
Oh.
Anybody else want to add anything to that particular question?
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes I think it's difficult sometimes for both people to look at the value that the other person brings. A lot of times it's self, like you could be like, well, I did this, I did that, vice versa. But taking a step back to see the value that you've added to the other person and vice versa. Because I can honestly say that I know specifically, like I know my husband has taught me a lot of things, invested in me a lot to help me grow. But in terms of him, I can recognize that the value that I've added was like assisting him with like future oriented planning and thinking, because like where he grew up and his experiences in life, like a lot of young Black men thinking that they're not going to make it past the age of 21. So when I met him, a lot of his planning was from day to day. Like I'm a live, now, because I don't know when my time is going to come. But for me, it was teaching him and having him begin to start future planning, oriented planning. So whether or not anything happens to him now or later, that we're, now that you have a family, like I understand that in a single-mindedness thinking, but when you have a family, that no longer, type of thinking works. So I can definitely say that I know that I've added that. And also developing bigger visions for him. Like he knew he wanted a family. But again, his own experiences, it was, having a nice apartment, because that's all he grew up in. But for me, I'm like, I want bigger than that. I want more than that. I want a home. And so then that becomes the goal. And then just, my personality, I just love doing new things, trying experiences that I've never done before. So I can say that I have added that, and making him more open to trying, more adventurous experiences, or just, taking advantage of like newer opportunities. And I can definitely say there's other things that he's definitely poured into me that has helped me grow, like teaching me patience, teaching, like we were saying earlier, my value and worth and how that looks, and how you move when you value, who you are, when your worth. Just a lot of historical aspects of just like Black identity, things like that, being open-minded, so I can definitely look going both ways where we both help each other grow and shine.
You mentioned something about patience. Can you teach patience?
Absolutely. I think people challenge, I think you learn to develop an area where people challenge you the most in that area. Like if you're a type of person that's quick to clap back, and you need to learn patience, you're gonna end up meeting somebody. You're going to end up meeting somebody that's going to challenge you in that area to teach you to learn to stop clapping back. At my job, like that was one of the things that I was challenged with early, like since I started teaching early. Them kids would challenge me because I was quick, like, you know, and I had to learn I couldn't operate like that, you know, anymore, because now I was seen as the, you know, adult figure. And I'll definitely say my husband has taught me that. Just sometimes me just ready to like get mad about something or get angry, and then if I pop off like that, the response that I got, it just wasn't, it didn't have the outcome that I intended. So because of having too many of those experiences, it has taught me to kind of just take a pause, maybe sometimes not even speak on it and see how it works itself out. I've also learned that like sometimes just shutting up may work itself out. So I would definitely say, yes, a person could teach you patience.
I think like a lot of my homeboys, they've had kids at the same time. They've all had probably like stair steps at the same exact time. And they said, yo, kids have taught me patience. You know what I mean? Because you're repetitive, you're saying the same thing over and over. So, you know, you have to, you definitely, he says, I definitely learned patience with these newborns.
Yeah, patience is something that's practiced. Because if you don't practice it, then you're going to be this high strung person. I think that as far as patience, I've learned that life is literally about patience. We want our lives to be a certain way. We want to have it by a certain time. I think life teaches us patience if we're willing to really indulge in the practice of patience. I don't think a lot of people realize how deep patience can get because you rush to get in relationships, or you rush to try to get that house and you really can't afford it. You rush to do a lot of things, and patience really is a teacher of life. And one of the first things love is patient, because of the twists and turns and the highs and lows, the mountain peaks and the valleys. So, you know, patience is one of those things that we have to practice every day in everything.
But I think it's one of those things where, you know, you have people out here, and me for a long time, my patience was never tested. You know, I think to bring the hink, until I started working with, you know, for a period of time, I was working with like at risk youth at like a children's home. You know, you had gangbangers coming in there, you had, you know, just different walks of life, broken homes. That's where like my patience was tested, and how I learned I can't do what I do out on the street. You know what I'm saying? They don't deserve that. They deserve a different response than, you know, but sometimes people are out here and their patience are truly never tested, you know, and then when you get in a situation, they explode. You're not learning from that, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, one more question for the men. I don't think we touched on this, but like, what if a woman comes to you and says, not a woman coming to you, but what if your woman or your wife comes to you and she says she has a lot of value to offer, but it's hard to show in this relationship? Like, what do you do? How do you respond to that?
Ooh.
She says, I have a lot of value to show.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of value to offer.
Mhm.
You know, she doesn't feel like her value is being used, and she's coming to you saying, basically, you need to use her.
I would say, how can I help? I would ask her, which ways does she think I can help, you know, bring that out? How can I be of assistance? You know what I mean? To figure out what I'm not doing that I should be doing, or what I'm not doing that she would like me to do to help with that.
I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, you might as well just get straight to the point. What am I missing? I mean, is something I'm missing, or something I overlooked? Is it something that we're doing right now currently that could be improved, that you can do it? Now, if that's the case, I wish you had said it a long time ago, but better late than never. Let's make it happen. So, but I mean, give her the opportunity and the space to express it. Hopefully, it could be done. But I hope it is, because she wouldn't be able to say that if she didn't feel like she was comfortable enough to do it. So now that she said it, let's shed some light on it, and then let's talk about it and just go from there. I mean, that's the best you could do.
I think also too, having like those conversations about what that looks like actually, like, You know, like checking in. I always bring up, you know, checking in with your partner, right? Like you always think that things are, you know, fine and dandy, but in reality, there's these types of issues that kind of come up, and you know, having them more often than not, and like, hey, look, I know we talked about this about 2 weeks ago, and I want to know, you know, like how things been. Like, am I doing better? You know, am I being more reciprocal, right? And I think that having that constant check in and having those conversations, and you know, making sure that you yourself are holding yourself to task, you know, you'll have less of those types of conversations because it just becomes, you know, second nature. You become much more consistent with it, you know, and that's just one way I see it.
Go ahead, Precious. You wanted to say something?
It reminded me, kind of what you said reminded me of two shows. One of them is This Is Us, and there's a couple on there, the black couple, Randall and his wife. I forget. They're one of my favorite TV couples. But between her and another character on another show, I think it was the Fresh Prince spinoff, the Fresh Prince show, how both of the wives had dreams and they feel like they put them on the back burner because of their husbands or what their husbands were doing. And I think that is, I think timing is everything, but also communication about those things. Women, like I said, I'm a helpmate, so I'm not trying to come in and change anything. But as a woman, you have to be vocal about the things that, what your passions are and the things that you desire out of life as well. Because again, it's about purpose and you're supposed to be helping each other towards purpose. So, you can't wait 10, 15 years down the line and say, oh, well, I never got to what I wanted to get to, or, I never was able to do that, or your dreams exceeded mine. I think that purpose and timing and communication is important. And, those things should be taken into consideration. I think a lot of times we can get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the everyday, the short-term goals and things like that. But when it comes to, again, chasing purpose, after you have kids, you're in the schedule or the routine of marriage, then you're, for women, a lot of times they say they put that stuff on the back burner to be a wife, to be a mother. I saw a post the other day of a girl saying, well, I would rather be a mother than a wife because then I can focus on myself and the time that I, need to myself. And I think that is because a lot of women think that when you get into a marriage, you quote unquote lose yourself, when it's just a conversation with the person that you're with. Now, if you guys can't come to an agreement or a vision for the relationship, then maybe you just shouldn't be together. You shouldn't, again, force trying to be with someone that's not going to accommodate you and who you are as a person. So, it reminded me of those two shows where the women years on down the line was, one wanted to be an artist and I forget what the other lady wanted to do, but they had these conversations with their husbands, but they became blow ups instead of conversations because they waited years down the line to say, well, I never got to do this or I never got to do that. And it's not that their husbands didn't want them to do it. It's not that their husbands weren't listening to them. But at the same time, to me, men are not one track mind, but y'all are seeing, a finish line. And it's not that you don't care about all the other stuff. It's that your mind just isn't there like the woman's mind is there. So I think, timing and communication is important.
I just have a question for that, and anybody can answer this. So I think something that Precious mentioned was, wanting to be the helpmate. And a lot of times when we listen to the conversations, I'll say in these YouTube streets that the idea of being a helpmate and submission kind of go hand in hand. And it kind of speaks to some of what she's saying. And I think that's where a lot of women get, scared or don't like the word submission, because sometimes the way that is interpreted from a man's perspective, like I said, just from the way I've seen it in these spaces, is that it doesn't matter what your purpose is. in relation to mine, because mine comes first. So you need to, help me, period, first and foremost. And I think a lot of times being in a situation where you have something to offer, not just your, husband, but to the world in terms of what your purpose is, that it gets stifled when you're in a relationship and you move in a direction of being the helpmate, being the submissive. Because sometimes, like what you just said, Precious, the men's minds are one track minded to the goal, to the end goal. So everything that occurs in between, they may miss out on that. And then a woman is feeling like she's not being heard or valued, even though she feels that she has something to value. So how do you balance that as a man? How do you balance wanting a helpmeet, but also allowing her to reach her fullest potential as well?
Well, I mean, this should have been ironed out during the conversation, the tough conversations we should have had before we got married. I don't understand. There was an opportunity right then and there to tell you whatever your goals and your dreams or whatever little things you want to accomplish or things you're trying to accomplish. It should have been brought up then and there. Why, like Chris said, why we got to wait 10 years down the road and we having a disagreement, all of a sudden you bring it out, well, I never got the opportunity to be the dancer that I wanted to be. What the shit are we talking about, me? You could have said this when you was 10 years younger and your legs were still fresh. You could still get out there, Watusi, whatever the hell y'all call it now. I don't know. I don't understand. Why are we doing this now? So, you again, you got to make sure you have the conversation. Man's not a mind reader. But the unfortunate thing is, most time when a woman tell you to go on his plan, because my man's going to finish a plan out. A lady's there do it for about 2 or 3 years, get bored, want to do something else. Now we got to reallocate finances to accommodate your life change that you want to do, because now the trend is doing something different. It may not be doing YouTube no more. Now it's something totally different. So now you want to start doing that. But the man is still focused on his lifetime plan, because he's straightforward, straight ahead, like you said, Richard. He got blinders on. I see the end game. I know what it is. And I'm trying to get the family there. But in the meantime, I'm trying to, at the same time, accommodate to your needs and your dreams and your goals, but kind of derailing our plans for the long go. We can't do that. So that's why the conversation need to be had out front from the beginning. So we can hash it out, work it out. If we're going to do your plan, cool, we'll do it. But we got to have a timeline. Hey, if you decide, man, 2 or 3 years down the road, that's what I'm afraid of, baby. I'm afraid of we'll do it for 2 or 3 years and it's going good. All of a sudden you get bored with it. Like, again, all of a sudden the trend changes and now you want to do something totally different instead of doing what we talk about doing and fulfilling your dreams. So now I got to worry about your dreams changing every other year. Is that what we're doing? No, that's not going to work for us.
Are people not opting into premarital counseling before they walk down the aisle and, say I do, read their vows, and cut the cake at the reception?
They definitely should. They
should. And one of the things, and if you're doing that and you did that and you got to that point, make sure at the inbox they put money towards, continual counsel even throughout the marriage, because like I said, again, people are not just checking in with each other to let them know what's going on and what they're changing feelings. Have 5 years of pent up resentment holding in that they didn't feel like they had the opportunity to voice their discontent or to voice their opinion about something that they felt that they would like to add or contribute or change or whatever. And now the roots have come home to chuckle. And now they're mad at each other because I missed out on, like Hank said, 10 years of professional dancing. It just is that. I mean, let's really address the bigger elephant in the room. Our culture today is really set up for us to kind of communicate in separate spaces. People are not communicating in spaces with each other in live time. It's either through text message, DMs, phone calls, FaceTimes. It's not in the same space. There is a different level of energy. There's a different level of listening because when you are in the same space and you're not preoccupied with the phone, the computer, and all these other electronic gadgets, and you're sitting there having an intimate one-on-one conversation with your person to be, right, that hits different, because there are too many distractions going on in our lives that always allows people to miss out on the important key points of their relationship, that turning point, that, like, we had that conversation 5 months ago and you missed it. That was an opportunity and you could have steered the ship differently. But that is what's happening. We are having conversations about these huge intimate moments in separate spaces rather than people having them in real live time. And that's really where people are dropping the ball.
Yeah, I think you hit a home run with that one. A lot of people communicate when they're irritated, frustrated through text message, instead of coming together in the same place and having that discussion, seeing if you can resolve. And a lot of people don't resolve. So you may have a discussion, but it doesn't go anywhere. So I think it's important for someone to take the lead, particularly the man, to make sure that we talk about structure. One of the things that you want to put in place is, if we have an issue, there's some type of resolve. There's some type of plan put in place so it doesn't keep happening. Because as humans, we're all different. We're all different. And if you want it to work, because everybody's different, so you can't be the same person that you was in your previous relationship or previous dealings. You have to try to understand how to make things work if you want it to work within a relationship. And it goes on both sides. You can't have the same expectations there are some expectations that you require, and they may be like your non-negotiables, but every relationship is going to have something that you're not going to like, and that's when compromise comes into play. It was another point after me. Anybody else got to add something? I got to think of another point. I forgot.
I was just going to say, with the communication piece, when I coach, I always recommend the back-to-back method. And because a lot of people, when it comes to face-to-face, you get caught up in the facial expressions, you get caught up in the tones, you get caught up and just look at, some people can't even look the other person in the eyes when there's tension. They can't even look the other person in the eyes because of fear, because of emotions. So I always say do the back-to-back method, where you're literally back-to-back, get you a little snack, get you something to nibble on, some grapes and something, and have the conversation. Because when you're back-to-back, you can literally feel when that person is talking. You can feel the vibrations from the other person. And so without having the distraction of looking, and you want to, elevate to be able to go face to face, but you'll get comfortable with having those conversations and being able to get your feelings out without having to be distracted by the other person when you say something. And they're like, what you mean? Like, it breaks the ice and it breaks the barrier, and then it gets you to the path of actually talking on the bed face to face. But start off back to back. I always recommend that, because you want to keep talking, you want to keep communicating, and a lot of times it's difficult when you can't look somebody in their eyes.
And I'm the writer. I'm like what Lewis described. I will have the conversation, but sometimes for me, and my husband had to learn this, he would get upset, like, I don't want to read all of this. Just tell me, just have the conversation. But for me, writing was more lethargic. It was more allowing me to process better what I was feeling, because I had time to think about it, and not only just think about it, but also be mindful of how I say it without necessarily being caught up in the emotion of the situation right then and there. Like, I might become defensive if you say something, or I'm trying to say something, but then you cut me off, so I can't clearly express what I'm saying. So sometimes we would have the emotional conversation first, and you said this and I said this, but then after me going back, playing the conversation over in my mind and thinking about, well, this is what I was really trying to say. This is what I was saying. I would just have to write it, and then I would just send it to him and then say, after you read this, if you want to continue the conversation, then, we can finish tonight or finish it up. But I think the idea is that you have to know what style of communication will work best for you, and then utilize that. Like the writing thing he did not like, but he realized that he got more from me in terms of what he needed. And when he would read it, it would be without interruption for him to also process what I was saying. And then we would come back together and then have that conversation, which ended up being a whole different conversation than what the initial conversation was.
I do want to speak on that because I was in a situation like that before where you would get the text message, and as men, you know, we want to talk face to face. So one of my suggestions was, I said, okay, go ahead and write it out, but bring it to the conversation and read it. You know, I don't really want to read it from a distance. If you, once you gather your thoughts, I still want you present within the room so that we can still have a discussion. And typically if somebody's reading something, nobody's going to cut them off. I mean, it's a different type of conversation at that point, different type of dialogue. But that's my only suggestion. The goal is to, if it's something that you need, it's something that you require, or something that you prefer from that other person, how can you reach them? And again, that's only if you want to reach it. I think if you meet somebody that way, one of the things that I liked about like Kelly was she would come to me and she would ask me if she did something that wasn't to my liking, she would ask like, how do I prefer it, so I can know, so that next time I won't do it that way. I won't say it that way. I can only respect that, you know, because you're coming to me, you're asking me, tell me exactly how it is that you want it, and that's the way that I do it. I'm only asking this, like, how do you like your eggs made? Tell me exactly. I need you to come show me how you want me to make it so that when I bring it to you, it's made the way you like it. So,
and that's important because you'll ask somebody what they want to eat or whatever, and they be like, just make something. And it's like,
right.
Well,
which is a recipe for
how do you like your eggs? Do you want them sunny side? I mean, I can make some eggs, but do you want them sunny side up, scrambled, cheese, no cheese? You know, and I think that men think that we're doing that to be meticulous, or I mean, women pay attention to detail, but you know, it's literally to do it how you would like us to do it. And if we don't ask, then we could just be doing anything and you don't like it and you're not necessarily saying anything because, well, you cooked for me or we ate. And it's like, yeah, but you want to be fulfilled in life, not just taken care of and having the bare necessities.
Or we'll make it the way that we like it. If you're not giving us any direction, then we're going to do it the way we like it. Right. And it may not necessarily be exactly what it is you want.
And to help men understand how important it is to tell your woman exactly how you like it, is because, I mean, think about when you go to the barbershop, right? And the barber always wants to put your beard or your hairline the way they think that they want it. Even if that hairline is going away, you say, no, I want you to keep it. I want you to keep the imaginary line down here. But yet, when they look at it, they putting it right back there where the hair really is. So same thing with the beard. You know, you done grew it all down here, you done nodded off and fell asleep. Next thing you know, he done went up in an area that you told him specifically you didn't want. You said, I want to try to keep as much hair as possible here. But when you wake up, it's a whole nother story.
So yeah, you gotta tell them, if not, you'll wake up looking like LeBron.
Right.
Like, why is it that men don't have?
My man Jay, I've been through some trauma.
I mean, I used to be a barber, so I've done it. Like, I wanted to do it. Like, it looks better. It looks better this way, but I learned to listen to the client. You know, even though you think it may look better this way, you don't understand why they want it like that. It just looks stupid. It looks dumb. But they're the client. So what you want to do is you want to cut it to their like. You want a repeating customer coming back. So.
Why do you think men have an easier time? Like how we, Precious just used the example, like, no, tell me exactly how you want your eggs. Sunny side up? Do you want it poached? Do you want it scrambled with cheese, scrambled hard? Like, why do you think men find it easier to tell women exactly what they want in the bedroom? Like, they're able to just be like, like this, but when it comes to other things within the relationship, they don't necessarily be as specific about what it is they need and want.
Girl, how you go from sunny side up to
sunny side down?
Right?
That's what I'm saying, because they will give direction about that. They know exactly, and they don't care about expressing how that is. where if you can take that same mindset and transition it into other aspects of the relationship instead of just that, then that would be very, very helpful.
I think because certain in that aspect, that's something we're more clear and concise on. Whereas men, I don't think a lot of us are hard to please. We're pretty simple. In that regard, we can be clear and concise. In other circumstances, we might be open to suggestions. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna try the eggs your way. I'm gonna see how this go down. If I hate it, I'm not gonna continue to eat it, or I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I don't like it like that. But if it's okay, if I can deal with it, it's not ruining my day. Yo, did I just black out my camera? What is going on? My camera, fam. Yo, this is
I got
crazy.
you.
Every
I
time
got you, Jay. Don't worry about it. I got you.
You disappeared into
Hey,
the darkness.
yeah, yo.
You gotta turn that you gotta turn the focus up. You gotta turn the aperture up to like 5.5 or something like that. Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to focus. When you move, it's gonna focus on that bright back window back there because you're darker. So you either have to lighten your face up a little bit, or you're gonna have to raise up the aperture so that it's not.
Yo, it's like I'm talking and then I look up and I straight vanish. Like,
Hey, I was just putting in the back chat too.
no, yeah. I was saying, hold on, what's going on with my camera?
Well, mistaken to answer your question, I think a lot of times men will tell you, but a lot of ladies want to adjust and change it to, well, yeah, I know you said that, but I think you might like it this way. And that could be the problem too. I mean, most of the time we have no problem with saying what we want. Most guys won't. I mean, I know you got some guys that's shy and timid and all that, but for the most part, most guys will tell you what they want. It may not be the most easy way to listen to it. They may not say it in a way that you could probably hear them, because they may say it in a harsh manner or demeaning, demonstrative type manners that you might not agree with, but they'll tell you.
Yeah. I did want to last before we move on to the next topic. You asked that question as far as like, how do you, when a woman, what was your original question about a woman's purpose or understanding what her purpose is? What was that first question you asked?
It was along the lines of like women being, I said told or conditioned to like you're the helpmate, being submissive. And I guess our interpretation of that is that means we come second to whatever goals and dreams or whatever you have. But how do you balance that? So the woman is being fulfilled in her own purpose, as opposed to putting everything off and focusing totally on you.
I just want to say that to me, it's like situational. It's like one of those things that whatever energy, conversations, moods that come with that, then you got to assess it at that place. But I give you an example. One of the questions that I asked Kelly's mother, because her father was real busy. He passed away a couple years ago. He was a real busy man. He was a pastor, and a lot of people. He was one of the people that was an original. So you know how somebody would say something and then people just keep repeating it. He was one of those men that he would say something and nobody's never heard it before. So he was an original. So a lot of people wanted to seek counsel, talk, like prophetic abilities, whatever, with him. So one of the questions that I asked her mother was there something that, because I know that you dedicated your life to your husband, but was there something that you always wanted to do that you never got the chance to do? And she said, yeah. But she understood the assignment of that when she married him, that he came first. So she had to sacrifice, she had to give up a lot of the ideas, that the things that she wanted to do or may have wanted to do, she had to give it up. And so her life became family. Like that was her primary focus, was the family. And that was one of the things that she wanted. So even though she wasn't able to fulfill some of the things that she had desired before she got married, family was one. So the family became priority, which included her husband. So now we have women nowadays that they have more talent, they have more value. I think if you are in that situation, you have to understand how important it is to her. If she's making the family priority and the husband a priority, then if it's something that she wants to do that doesn't interfere, that makes sense, that doesn't damage the brand, then why not let her do it? You know, if it's something, if she's putting the family as a priority and the house is taken care of, everything's taken care of, and let's just say that she wanted to sew, and so you get her a sewing machine, and whenever she has some downtime, then she sews. The reason why I said situational is because if you do have a wife that's a stay at home, she may get bored. And so, and if she's fulfilled and done everything that's required for the house, you're taken care of, and she has some downtime, she may want to do something else. And again, as long as it's not disrespecting the household, then why not? So I think you have to have that discussion. That's why it's very important to communicate and understand little things. Like Jay say, I want to comment what you said earlier too, Jay. Them little things are important because, and I don't think women realize how important those little things are until they get into a relationship with a man. Let's just say hypothetically you don't work, and then they start comparing. Like I remember when something went wrong with the car, I ain't had to worry about that. But now it becomes an issue in the relationship, in the next relationship, because that's something that they took for granted. They didn't realize how important it was. It may have been little to them, but then they saw the value afterwards. So little things do matter within relationships, Jay. So I wasn't coming down on you. I just think that, and it's on both sides, right? It's on both sides. So that's just my part.
Yeah, it's just not hard for me because me and my husband has, we've worked our own, you know what I'm saying, like you said, is how that's going to show up in your relationship. But I think for the bigger picture, a lot of times when you hear women saying things like, they would prefer to pursue their dreams than get married or things like that, is because I think it's in a mindset of, I'm going to have to choose between the things that I desire or want or have goals or ambitions or purpose versus, theirs, if I'm trying to be the good wife, the dutiful wife. And it's hard because I look, and I know this is like a throwback, but I look at a situation like thinking about Harriet Tubman. That was her purpose. She was living in her purpose to do what she did, and she got married. You know what I'm saying? So if we look at a situation like that, where the husband is like, well, no, as a wife, you're supposed to support, my dreams, my goals, what I'm supposed to be doing because you're the submissive. Imagine if he did not allow her to live out her purpose and say, well, mine's come first. You understand what I'm saying? And I know that's an extreme example, but I'm talking about more along the lines of, I personally believe that each individual is given a purpose. And I know everybody tries to just say, oh, as women, just your family is your purpose and that's it. And I don't necessarily subscribe to that mindset. I do think each individual is given a purpose, and it should be fulfilled and carried out. I think it's the couple's responsibility to see how that can operate within a marriage, how you're going to do it.
It's not an extreme mistaken. I mean, we could see that being played out now in between couples who are heavily career driven. You have a man who is trying to climb up the corporate ladder, right? Or is in that, almost CEO position. And you have the woman who is also with her own brand and her own business and stuff like that. Like, you have two equally busy, career driven individuals, right? And at times they try to sell like, oh, that's a great recipe, but is it really a really good recipe for long term though? It looks good up front on paper, but I mean, I've never really seen a highly successful example of that, of two successfully driven, career driven people, you know, and because I think at some point, like, one person's gonna need a little bit more time or a certain insight or help, like, like Precious had put it, in their relationship. And I don't know if those conversations are ever had. I think some people tend to kind of scale back a little bit in terms of really reaching their full potential, in order to kind of create a family.
All right. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Everyone, please take the moment right now. I'm hearing that the likes are down. Somebody in the chat even said that they think they are doing it on purpose, intentional. Just here, sucking it all in without hitting that like button. That's all that we require. And we have one super chat family. We're going to read that super chat. And it's from Marcus Evans, $5. Says, hello, everyone. Dope conversation so far. We appreciate the one super chat. Hit the like button. That's a good way to super chat for me. Just hit the like button. Everybody, is 338 people in here. We should have 330 likes right now. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, set the notifications to all. So make sure you guys do that as well. It's a great conversation. I didn't really think it was going to spread out like that, but you just never know. As we were all in the moment, huh?
Yeah. I know it's right, big brother. I got you.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic of this early afternoon, which is more people stay poor because of their egos than get rich. Let me go ahead and play this clip.
More people stay poor because of their egos than get rich off them.
Yeah.
At the moment, it seems like egos are being valorized on the internet, especially among men's advice.
Yeah.
How is it that more people stay poor because of their egos and get rich off them, if there's a bunch of examples of people with seemingly big egos that also have money?
I think that's what's the fallacy? Whatever the cognitive fallacy for what's in front of your eyes. I think there are far more people. Was it
availability bias?
There you go.
Yep.
I think there are far more people who are successful and significantly more successful than the people who are visible on content and I would say many of those people aren't actually that successful. And so if we're looking at the objective measure of success as like net worth, just for the sake of this conversation, there are far more people who are rich and anonymous than there are people who flaunt their Lamborghinis that they rented for a day. Now if you really think about the influencer world of business, there are not that many guys who actually like are really in the game. Like most of those guys sell something from their platform about building a platform. Like that's 90, not even 95. It's probably like 98, 99%. And so there's only like a very small select. And to be fair, those guys are all pretty humble.
All right. More people stay poor because of their egos than get rich. What are your thoughts about it? I'm going to go ahead and start with Luis first. What do you think on that?
I think that was a very interesting video. I think he isn't far off though. I do think that people who tend to be a little bit egotistical, they are not malleable, not teachable, not coachable. It's okay to have a strong sense of self, right? You know yourself, but I think being able to humble yourself around other people or other men who are trying to teach you game and trying to help you grow and allow you to discover the best strengths that you could play with that will allow you to kind of grow and flourish. I think that people are too stuck in like, I know best, I know more, as opposed to really saying like, I don't have it all figured out, I don't know everything, teach me. Let me know what you know, and being able to humble yourself, that will allow doors to open up for you as opposed to doors closing in your face. And how does that correlation makes it direct connection to relationships? I think that in relationships, you have to kind of listen. You have to listen to each other, not kind of. Oh, that was terrible. You have to listen to each other and understand that each person does bring valuable insight. And that valuable insight might be an opportunity to network or connect with people, or that might be a good business idea that people didn't think about. Being able to kind of listen to each other and put the ego aside will allow you to flourish, because what happens is that you don't know what you're talking about, like you have no experience, and it's always a negative connotation that gets added, which it doesn't always result into net positive outcomes. So I would think that people's checkbook is a clear reflection of how well and effective they listen to not only themselves and the people around them, but also in their relationship.
Okay. Go ahead, Jay. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's an interesting subject because I was actually having a conversation similar to this the other day regarding because when I was in college, I joined a fraternity, and I liked the fraternity, but another primary reason I joined it was for networking. So that when I was out of college, I would always have like a brotherhood that I could lean on, whether it be jobs or real estate, just different avenues, I could tap into. And I just never took advantage of it the way that I should have or the way I should because of ego, and I don't know whether it's a man thing. I don't know whether it's an age thing. You get to a certain point and you just don't want somebody to have something over you, or you don't want somebody to have the ability to say, like, you don't want your performance or what you're doing to reflect on somebody else. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you kind of want your mistakes or how you move to immediately reflect you. You don't want anybody else looked at because of what you do or decisions you make. Say if I get a job and I realize, okay, I don't like that job, and somebody actually went out their way to get me this job, am I beholden to stay at this position because somebody gave me this opportunity? Or if a better opportunity comes up, can I just leave it because it's better for me and my family? So I always think about things like that, and I think that that's ego. That's ego.
All right. Mistaken. What are your thoughts?
I think I look at this a little differently. Like I understand the perspective in which he was speaking in terms of financial like poorness, but I took the message to be a little different just in general. Like your egos get in a way of where it can be poorness of thought, poorness of relationship, poorness of self-development, because I think in life in general, your ego gets in the way of being able to receive something that you need in order to develop, in order to be rich, so to speak, rich in family, rich in attitude, rich in character. Like a lot of times our egos get in the way of developing that because somebody says something that you don't necessarily like or want to hear, and you refuse to yield to, that advice or, criticism, so to speak. And I definitely agree with that sentiment, but just from a different perspective outside of just the financial aspect.
All right, Precious. What are your thoughts about it? The more people stay poor because of their egos than get rich.
I would agree with that. Ego doesn't allow you to be humble. Ego sometimes take away your drive to actually do things. I mean, back in the day, men would like build cars with their hands. Nowadays, you men will either pay for it or they may lack that drive. And I'm not just saying, building a car, but I've heard men say, "Oh, I'm not doing all that." And I looked at him like, but this is your thing. Like this is what you do. What do you mean you're not doing all that? Um, in the world of social media, things are, fast, get it quick and easy. A lot of men, there are some men who just don't want to build it. And it's written, build it and they'll come. They worry about starting at the bottom and not being the most popular or not being the most talked about. And it bothers it could bother them. And this is, for women too, starting out doing something, birthing something, bringing life to something. You don't want to carry it out because you don't have that drive. Your pride is getting in the way, telling you that you can't do it, or people aren't going to be, talking about it again, the same old things. But the ego, you have to put it to rest. You have to, do it anyway. What they say, do it scared, do it, poor, do it afraid. You just got to do it, like Nike said. And it gets hard for some people to just do it. And it's understandably so. However, that's why two is better than one, because when you have that someone helping you, and it don't even have to be a love interest. It could be a coach. It could be, a big brother. It could be a big sister. It could be anyone that's helping you, keeping that drive going. But even with that, you have to get rid of that ego, get rid of the pride. So I would agree with that.
All right, Brother Hink, what are your thoughts about it?
Oh man, I mean it's crazy, but we saying this, but yeah, our ego can keep us poor, and it may not be in as far as money and that type of value. It might be in just knowledge. So what if I allow my ego to say, man, I'm not gonna listen to this old white man talking about finances and investing and what's the gauge on buying homes at an early age compared to an old age. I could allow my ego to get the best of me, saying, I'm not going to listen to this old white man. What he don't know what he talking about. He don't know what he talking about. But no, it's not going to benefit me. If whoever got the knowledge got the knowledge. I don't care where it comes from. I mean, when I needed therapy, if I sit there and waited another 6 months for the black therapist to be available, no telling where I would have been at right now. Way worse off would have been. But my ego wouldn't allow it to happen. So sometimes it's not just about money. It's about other things you could be getting rich in that you're missing out on. But as far as the money thing, I guess maybe sometimes we allow our ego saying, hey, man, I'm not going to take this job. I just came from a 6-figure job. What I look like getting into a middle 5-figure job now? Sometimes you got to take a couple steps back, man, to move 3 steps forward. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that internship. I know it's not the most lavish thing, the most it's very humbling, but sometimes you have to do things like that in order to make those steps and get that knowledge. So that's just my opinion about
it. Okay. Anybody else got anything to add on this? All right. With that being said, welcome to Lapeef-ING Sunday. Make sure we get the likes up. Also, make sure we subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, family. Hit the like button. The likes are free. Shout out to the sponsor again, T. Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Make sure you guys go ahead and click that link that's in the description. 30% off along with a free gift. Now it's time to get to the meat of the conversation. We know the ladies like the meat.
Quick question, yeah. What do you think about that? How do you feel in that situation? Like, say if you have somebody that, they're not a close friend, but they're an associate and they have a position for you that's going to be paying you more, and they come to you with that. Is there something internally that, makes you say to yourself, man, do I want to take this job? Because if I don't like it, it'll reflect poorly on him. And then, our relationship is strayed. Or does any of that go through your head? Yo.
You're muted, JR.
Yeah, I just realized that it came up. So you said I got a best friend, and he came to me, and he
not a best friend, like an associate. Somebody you went to school with,
right? And he says he has a job opportunity for me that's paying a lot of money. So am I obligated to take that job?
How do you feel? Like, what are the things that go through your head when that's presented to you?
I'm gonna take a look into it. You just never know. It may be something I want to look into, and it may benefit. So I'm always going to take the information that somebody's given, and I'm always going to look into it. I'm just not going to just say I'm not trying to hear it. You just never know what it may be. And it could be something that it could be a big ass bonus or something. All you got to do is just something real simple. And I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and do it for a little bit, test it out.
Right. Okay. Do it for a little bit, test it out. Now, do you think, okay, this person offered me this job. Do you feel a certain obligation? to the job because of them helping you?
No, I just think that it's all situational. If for some reason I take that job and it's not working out, I'm gonna let my friend know, like, hey, it's not what I thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna put it in, but because they are because they referred me to it, I'm always look real deep into it, and I'm gonna let them know, this is something that I might entertain for a little bit. I could probably do it for a year, but I'm gonna still keep the open communication with them because they referred me. I think if anybody refers you, then you should at least, because if they're looking for somebody long term to stick it out, then I'm like, that's not the job that I probably want. So I'm not gonna use it and abuse their referral, but I'm gonna keep the open communication with the person that referred it, and then if they don't see no problem with it, or if they like, hey, you do whatever you want, I just get it in. Like, okay, cool. We kind of move it that way, but I do think it's important to communicate that on the front end, like your intentions. But if something comes up that you didn't see and it's still not for you, then I think you need to exit if you so choose. I don't think you have to feel obligated to stay there, especially if it's something that is hindering your life. Like just say, like your child got sick or something like that. But it's probably a little bit on the extreme side. Let's just say another job opportunity came. Let's say Google reached out to you or something, and they say, "Hey, we got this position you want to," and it's like this makes sense for me, but I will still communicate with them why, and it is what it is at that point.
Yeah, I think that might be the main thing. I think the communication aspect of it, because I know I've been on both sides of that. Like I remember I got a homeboy a job, good job, and that dude was out in like 3 weeks, yo, and I was pissed. I was pissed off, like hold on, I don't see his car in the parking lot. You know what I mean? I text him like, yo, what's good? Oh yeah, I don't work there no more. And I'm like, I really talked to some people to get you in here, man.
Yeah, he didn't make it through probation period, did he?
You straight? He didn't, man. He didn't. I'm like, where this nigga at, fam? Where your car at, bro?
I mean, that's why it's good to vet whoever you're gonna refer. You should really look into. You almost got to do a background check before you refer somebody, especially if your name's stamped on it pretty hard. So,
yeah, this is somebody I love. This is my homie. You know what I mean? Like,
what was his worth ethic like before that? Like, how many jobs? His last job, how long did he work at?
For a while. So that's why I thought,
Why did he leave that job?
Another position came up. And the job that I got him, it paid more money. It was better benefits, and but the job that came up was in his field. But I mean, like you said, he didn't communicate any of that to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can also ask some questions too. So you can also ask them like, man, do you think if you like this job, you're gonna stay? If something else come up, then you have an idea whether you want to refer them to. So sometimes you got to fine tune like your vetting. I mean,
Yeah.
with people you refer, like women, things change. Things are always constantly changing. So people are learning new things and doing things different ways. So sometimes you might, even through your marriage, you might have to start asking some questions or something. Like you may see a shift or notice something like, hey, kind of notice you used to do this, but this ain't happening. What's going on with it?
He hit me up about my current job, yo. I just straight asked him, yo, what he's eating for lunch. Yo. I ignored the question, like, yeah, so what you eating? What you eating for dinner, yo?
Yeah,
like he ain't even say nothing.
I know that's right. You ain't supposed to. You ain't gonna do but bail out on you that one. Nah, we good. Your name Mud right now.
Yo, what you ate for dinner, yo? Like he ain't even say that.
Man, obviously he got a different type of appetite. So with that being said, family, hit the like button. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we about to ready to get to the meat of the conversation. And again, we know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
Shout out to the sponsor again, T Chanley. Shout out to T Chanley. I ain't lose nobody. Y'all good over there? Everybody good?
We're here.
I just start doing smaller panels. Just feel like it's I don't know. We ain't got people just sitting around waiting. So maybe I might have to go back. When we first started, it used to only be 4 people. On the panels, majority like 4 people. And we used to keep it moving.
Nothing wrong with
that was old school. That was old school Lapeef days right there, big bro.
Yeah, I know. I have to go back to a 4 panel, see how that is. 6 and 8 cool too. All right, here we go. The meat of the conversation is I ain't even put it on there, but Why do women develop opposite sex friends? Why do women develop opposite sex friends? We kind of like had this well, we didn't have this particular conversation, right? Because we talked about us not wanting, well, a lot of people say that they don't want their wife or husband to have friends of the opposite sex. So that's not this same topic. This topic is a little bit different. I know when you see it, some people may think that if you didn't really pay attention to the question. But this is different. Why do women develop opposite sex friends? We are talking about women. This is one of those questions that's not men and women. But why do women develop opposite sex friends? And it's not really saying that they have to be in a marriage. We're just looking into as to why they develop these relationships. I do have a clip that I'm gonna play for you guys, and it should give you a little bit. It's two clips. I broke it up because I don't want to play the whole thing in one setting. So what I'll do is I'll play the first clip, and then we'll have a conversation about it, and then midway I'll go ahead and insert that other clip just for additional context. Okay, sound like a plan? Hit the like button, family. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Here we go.
The data that I've seen suggests that what we might be doing when we form opposite sex friends is basically recruiting kind of like backup mates. And so that basically the preferences that we espouse for our opposite sex friends look pretty similar to our preferences for mates. And so it suggests we might be cultivating, backup mates. And there are some data that people do this explicitly, and, they'll report being distressed if their backup mate forms a relationship. And so some people do this consciously. My guess is a lot of people might be doing it non-consciously, but still espousing similar preferences. It's possible also that maybe opposite sex friends might have served as protection, perhaps if your mate were really aggressive. So we might also be looking for those attributes.
Especially if you're patrilocal.
Okay, so that's the first clip right there. Why do women develop opposite sex friends? Did you guys find it interesting? What was your thoughts about it? I'm going to go ahead and go to Real Precious first.
Why do I don't know. I'm funny with that. So I would say that women probably develop these opposite sex relationships. One, to have a male perspective. Two, I think she said something about protection. I think that women ultimately like security and protection. And it doesn't mean that, you have to be here to protect me. But I think that speaking to women all the time for women is not a good idea. And I'm just saying that because a lot of women won't lead you in the right direction. So I would say personally for me, it would be to get a different perspective, honestly. I don't believe in the gather all these male friends, because if, attention is going to come, and not all attention is good attention. And a lot of women crave that attention. And I don't think that, that type of attention is always the best attention. And some men don't have the right intention with you. So, why they do it, I don't know, but I would say for me, it would be to get a different perspective. It would just, primarily to just have a male's perspective on things.
And if that's the case, then why don't women go and consult their fathers, their older brothers, favorite older cousin, uncle? These are all men in your life, in your proximity, in that you're in community with, right? That have absolutely zero sexual interest in you and want nothing but the best for you. Why does it always take a complete outsider, who we tend to inflate the word friend in quotations, and bring them into our personal space to talk about issues that have absolutely nothing to do with them, but yet they have a bigger stake in a bigger saying in the interdevelopment of our personal relationships? with other people? That right there is the question that always needs to be challenged. And I tend to find that women who do that is really more for validation and escaping really the accountability and the hardship that the men who care about them in their life are going to tell them. They're going to tell them the uncomfortable truth. They're going to tell them, like, hey, look, this is where you're falling short of, or hey, like, I've noticed these things, right? The other male friend, no, you're fine, girl. You're fine the way you are. Nah, he doesn't deserve you. All this other, sweet nothing conversations, they don't really are telling you the God honest truth that you need to know and hear in order to self-develop. They're gonna tell you what to hear, and you're going to, in turn, always go to them whenever there is a conflict, whether it's a conflict within your family, your relationship, business, etc., as opposed to counseling with the people you are in community with, which is, i.e., your family, that will give you the best insight, who have, again, zero sexual interest in you, but yet want the best outcome for you.
I got a question for you real quick. She says, what if those male figures are not present in her life? Then what?
I was going to say that, and I think the caveat to that too is that sometimes you don't want your family in your business. So sometimes you may go to, a friend, because I'm not going to say whether you lose them or not doesn't make a difference, because then that wouldn't be a friend. But I think is a difference between going to your family with something because they are going to have like your best interests at heart, and then you share something with them, and then you may move on from your relationship, but they may not have. And so then that may create a dynamic within that relationship. So sometimes the outside source may be a better option. That was just what popped into my head when I thought about that aspect. But the other question was, she said, what if you don't have a father to go to, or a male sibling to go to?
I think those men that you're talking about, Luis, they're not friends. Those are straight up F boys. Those are guys who want to literally get in your pants, and women need to know the difference.
But that, I was
they need to
thank
know
you for saying that.
Yeah, they just need to know the difference. And if they don't have the father figure in their life, unfortunately, experience is going to slap them in the face, because most men, that are that don't have your best intention, that's what they want. That's what they're headed for. But like, I have a friend, and before he's about to tell me the truth, he'll go, "We friends, right?" He'll say that, "We friends, right?" Because and when he says that, I know that he's about to not care about, my little old feelings. He's not about to sugarcoat anything. He's not, you know what I mean? He's like, if we friends, I should be able to tell you this in honesty. So women need to, really differentiate who is a friend and who is a F boy. And not many men should be your friend.
One thing I want to add and say to respond to that question, what if she doesn't have any family members that she could go to, right? Because obviously that's a true reality for some people out there. Let's not act and pretend that there aren't professional life coaches out here, that there aren't actual professional people who move and operate in certain spaces that provide a service to give you the best insight, whether it's on relationships, business, a slew of things, right? There are resources out there, and there are people in positions. Again, it's about utilizing and leveraging it. The problem that sometimes women don't know how to differentiate differentiate the two, like Precious said, is that who's really there for you as a friend, and who's really there disguised with intentions of being a friend, but in reality they have a much deeper motive that it's not really apparent on the surface.
All right. Go ahead, Brother Hink. What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is a problem. Now, you say you don't go to your family, but you're poor into a stranger who has You don't know their intentions. Again, y'all gonna rely on this dude gonna come through, tell you what you want to hear, like Louise said, and I'm setting you up. Cause I'm gonna get them yams. I know I am. It's only a matter of time. You gonna keep talking bad about this dude, and I'm hearing all this information. And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put on the front. I'm gonna act just like all that shit you told me in the past. I'm gonna act like that's what I am until I get what I want, and then I'm done. And then I done moved on. Then I done ghosted you. And guess what? Now I got me a new relationship, and I no longer have no conversation with you anymore because I got respect for my lady. I'm not gonna have you calling me 10 o'clock at night. Oh, Johnny is he stayed out late, then come in about 3 in the morning. He smell like perfume that I don't wear. I don't know where he got it from. Kill all that, man. You need to confide it to your husband, and your husband needs to confide in you. And if we can't work it out between us two, then we're gonna talk us counseling. Again, we're a circle. Nobody's coming in my goddamn circle interfering with this game plan. Your girlfriends are not, your mammy, your pappy, none of them motherfuckers. They're not coming in there interfering with our game plan. They're not. Now, we're going to go to couples counseling. And if you need individual counseling, then so be it. Get that. Talk to somebody. No problem. And for somebody who doesn't have any male males in their life, man, so you got a long line of family members. You ain't got nobody? Grandfather? You don't have an uncle? No other male you could talk to or maybe get some advice? Talk to your pastor. Ladies, I know y'all love y'all pastor to the point y'all want to sleep with him. Y'all are so infatuated with your pastor. Talk to him. Yeah. Facts, y'all. Talk to him. Have a conversation with him. Pray about it. Go to confession, whatever your religion is. Do what you need to do. But you keep bringing your friends in a situation. You may not like the results you're going to get. Once your friends get all enough information and see the vulnerability all over that man's face, she's going to sneak in there and try to do something with your man. You might not like the results. And again, you telling your parents and your family, yeah, they're going to continue looking sideways. But you don't think your friends going to look at them sideways too? You don't think your friends going to hold some grudges?
No.
Nope. Man, we look, man, we got to come together and have the conversation amongst us. Why is everybody involved in putting their hands in our relationship? That's not a good thing. And social media got it thinking like it is. It's not. Everybody should know how you move, how you operate, how you do whatever. They shouldn't. But unfortunately, a lot of ladies, y'all like you want them to know everything. They might as well come in your bedroom and stream and live stream that. Put that in. You might as well. You're doing everything goddamn else. I know that's right.
All right, Jay, a story to tell. What your thoughts, sir?
So I have an older sister, so I've watched like female friendships that she's had dwindled over stupidity or over somebody's man liking her, or I've seen 20-year friendships just end over nonsense. So as far as like, why do women develop opposite sex friendships? Because a lot of women are fickle as hell, catty as hell, jealous, envious, so they may envy something you have if you're getting paid a certain amount of money, if you in a good, healthy relationship, and eventually that's brought to the forefront. So they start distancing themselves from women like that. Whereas men, once a man has realized, like, because I do believe that, men have intentions initially, a lot of people get slapped in the friend zone. But I do think even in the friend zone, there are some men that are mature enough to be a friend, and along with that friendship comes honesty. The stake is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you've already communicated to me, I'm not getting these buns, so now I don't got to play the role no more. I become a good friend because there's nothing at stake anymore. I could be honest with you. So women will notice that, like, okay, he know that this is never going nowhere, so he's going to be completely honest with me. So and that honesty is appreciated versus a friend, a female friend, who will sit there, listen to all your stuff on the phone, listen to everything you're going through in your relationship. As soon as you get off that call, they'll pick up the phone and call somebody else, you know, and tell all your business. And you know what I'm saying? Like, men ain't doing that. So they value what we do, you know, logical explanations, realistic, like, yo, you got to get your shit together. Like, or about another dude, you know, like if I'm cool enough with you, if a female, if you've made it into my circle, I'm gonna be honest with you, yo, homie's a bum. You know what I'm saying? A homie don't have no health insurance. He's 40 years old. He's 45 years old, yo. If he go out here and get hit by a car, it's a wrap, yo. That's $47,000. You know what I'm saying? If he get knocked out his shoes, that's a bill he can't pay. So women appreciate that out of men. So if they can have a friendship with a person like that, and the stakes of the sexual element are removed, they would much rather choose that over women. You know, when we're younger, you know, we look at male friends as a woman having a bunch of male friends. We looked at that as, you know, she's a jump off. There's something wrong there. You don't have no female friends, like something is up. But when you break it down and you look at a lot of these female friendships, man, like they're built on almost nothing. You know what I'm saying? They're built on convenience. They're built on we're cute together. You know, they're built on I got a fat ass, you got a fat ass, and niggas like us. You know, but then when you get older and there's some type of substance that's needed to sustain the relationship, you know, those friendships dwindle. So with men, you know, we're good friends. If you could find and, you know, tackle us down to be a friend of yours, we're a huge benefit for you.
Yeah, but Jay, you know in the back of my mind what we thinking.
I mean, of course.
You know what the back of my mind.
Take one more shit.
Together.
Yeah.
Waiting for that moment. Oh, my life.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Of course.
Shout out to Phil Collins.
Of course.
Yes.
But I mean, once that's been removed, you know what I'm saying? Like if we, you know, of course, we always gonna have that in the back of our mind. I don't doubt. That's why when, you know, females were like, yeah, I got a male friend. Yeah. I know niggas, you know what I'm saying? I know how we think, and they're thinking the same way. So I'm always gonna have it in the back of my mind. How good of a friend is he really? You know, I know what he's thinking. He may be a good friend, but I know what he's thinking at the end of the day. So, however, when that sexual element is removed and it's not a day-to-day thought, like maybe I'll get lucky today, they can offer some good insight.
Yeah, but Jay, the only time it may be removed if he's in another relationship. If he's a single man and without a woman in his life, he still think there's a chance.
I mean, but I agree with that to an extent, and I'm just saying, like, there are some men out there. There are some who are not completely driven by, especially at a certain age, that are not completely driven by sex. You know what I'm saying? I remember when, you know, when we were younger, of course, we wake up, dog, hoping our day ended with us getting ridden out. But as you get older, man, ain't nobody got time for that, man. A game, you know, the basketball game, football game, some beer, you know, our night don't have to end in a crazy sex orgy in your 40s. You know what I'm saying?
But, you know, Jay, that's the audience we talking to, though. We're not talking to elder people.
Right.
Most time we're not talking to the elderly because they already know either we're not going to allow all our friends in our relationship, or, you know, we have a certain level of trust with our friends as far as our relationship. But them young cats, them young ladies, them young men, they thinking about that opportunity.
Yeah, they got to learn them lessons, man.
You know? I want to play this. Let me play this other clip real quick, and then we'll get more people to chime in. Got a second part of the clip. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shout out to all my green gangers in the chat. You want to become a member? That link is pinned to the top of the chat. Here we go.
I think that explains one of the reasons why men get so uncomfortable when their female partner, talks about that male friend that they've got at work. And this is what I learned from David Buss's Men Behaving Badly, the failure of cross-sex mind reading, the male overperception and the female underperception bias of attraction, that you have this situation where women and men basically exist in different worlds when it comes to perceiving what's going on. And this failure of ability to work out, to model the other person's world very much can cause two people both acting in a true way, acting in a fair and loyal way, to see completely different situations and to actually have an awful lot of friction in their relationship.
All right, we are continuing the conversation of why do women develop opposite sex friends. A little bit more context. Anybody want to speak to that?
I agree with what Real Precious was saying, is that I do think as women in general, we do appreciate the male perspective on things, because we do understand that we see situations very different. And so when you are dealing or in relationship with someone else, and especially as a woman, you want to get it right. You may not necessarily understand certain messaging or things that's going on directly in your relationship. To have the backup guy friend, if he's truly a friend, to have that, it does assist in providing you an insight on a way to approach certain situations with your, with your partner. And again, I reiterate with like what Real Precious was saying about it truly being a friend. If there is a form of attraction, things like that, then I, would steer clear of that. And I know we're talking about why do women do it, but just in my personal situation, I don't have any male friends. I'll talk like what Lewis was saying. I might go to my brother, or if it's something else, I might, ask my dad, what do you think, depending on what it is, because some of his advice, I know I can't really apply. But in general, I do think that that's why, women will develop those relationships. And in my specific situation, my husband, he has two female friends that, well, he's known way longer than me, and we've been knowing each other almost 30 years. So in those situations, I don't have any problem with that, because I know it's a true friendship, and I can tell by the way they interact, because they respect what we have here. I don't get calls, or never have gotten calls, where it was inappropriate times that they're calling, or the expectation of, if I'm not around, then you're trying to go out and hang out without me. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So I do think you can kind of understand the relationship if it's handled in a matured manner, when your mate lets the other person know that this situation is priority. Like nothing is going to come in between that, and draw those boundaries of how that relationship is going to look now that I'm in a relationship with somebody else.
And I think that's the main thing. Like, if you're outsourcing, if you're in a relationship and you're outsourcing, that means that there's a problem. There is a problem. You have people that have the work husbands and work wives. The work husband and work wife, they're outsourcing. There's something that's missing at home that they're trying to fulfill. If they're communicating with their ex or venting, there's something missing. So just naturally, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the person that you feel comfortable doing that with. Some people revert to exes. Some people develop new friendships at the job,
No new friends.
Facts.
Well, the whole work husband situation is, so from what I've gathered from the video, from both videos, right? It seems like people are not fully invested in their first relationship and they're trying to build a plane while trying to fly it in their second relationship, right? It's like their first relationship with their person, they're either not openly communicating, not really talking about things, and there is a lack of attention happening at some point, whatever it is, whatever it looks like. And they're trying to get that at the workplace. Because workplace husband, let me tell you, I think I think most companies have at least maybe like a 40% probably workplace husband. I've seen it everywhere I've gone. Like that connection, that touchy feely, that like, oh, I brought you lunch type of deal. I see that all the time. I've seen it, and these are people who are married, kids and everything, the whole shebang, the minivan, the 2 vacation trips during the summer. Yeah, they're fully married, but obviously there's something that is missing that they haven't been talking about. But they're willing to tiptoe and put their foot inside the swamp in order to gain some sort of validation that is missing at home. And sort of they're playing with fire. And let's not be mistaken that people have backup people because they failed to properly vet their first person. So they're hoping to do the things that they didn't accomplish in their first relationship and experiment in their potential second. So if they were to break up, they'll rebound and move fast, right? Because they already had somebody in the queue. They're already coming off the bench. They've just been doing some warm-up laps around the court, and dribbling the ball a little bit for them to kind of come into the picture a couple of months later. They're essentially grooming that next person. And that usually happens because you know what it is? People are very, very afraid to get in their heart broken. People are very afraid of being let down. And so the people are always operating with contingency plans in their relationship. Well, I got this other guy, I got like 50 dudes in my DMs, and I could, reach out to them. Not to say that's all women who are doing that, but unfortunately, the segment of women who are doing that are operating from a fear-based perspective, as opposed to really trying to pour into their relationship and trying to make that work before they get caught up and their man finds out, and then they leave them for something that they thought. There was an interesting quote about the land. Never leave the one you love for the one you like, because the one you like will always leave you for the one they love. And that tends to happen more often than not when people fall asleep at the wheel of their relationship. By you.
Damn, Lou saying they the 6th man of the year. Is that what you're saying, Lou? Just wait for the opportunity to be a starter. Now, I ain't with that work husband shit. My lady better not come and say, talking about, yeah, I gotta work. You gotta work what? Shit, you better not. If that's the case, you better go get with him. Get you a new key, a new residence. You won't be living here. Work husband, my ass. Nah, hell no. That's again, like Lou's saying, they talking about you're not fully invested. You're just waiting for the moment it to go bad so you can go and, like you said, get with your side dude or your plan B or your work husband, if that's the case. No. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure I give you a safe place where you can be vulnerable, where you feel at ease. You can let your hair down. And again, I'm gonna let you allow you to lay your burdens at my altar, and we're gonna talk this through, and we're gonna figure it out. And if we got to get a third party in here, we're gonna go to see a therapist, individually and together if need be, whatever it takes. But again, we're talking to a younger generation who that they believe that they want everything instantly, fast, quick, and in a hurry. It's going to take time. You're going to get to know your person throughout the relationship, but it's going to take time.
So, Hank, let me ask you something. So, say like you're at work, and you have coworkers that you work with regularly. Y'all may eat lunch together in the lunchroom or what have you, and then general conversation begin to develop. Now, will you have those conversations and those conversations just stay at work, or does it filter outside of work into personal conversations? Not saying that your significant other don't even know about it, but are those conversations leaving work as well? Like, would you not offer advice if asked, things like that?
Well, first of all, I would just listen. I just listen because, again, you don't know everybody's intentions that may be in that break room. Somebody else may be there to spy and just to overhear shit and go tell it to your significant other. I just go run and tell it just because of what you shared. So you never know my intention. So I sit there and listen. Now I prefer to leave work at work. I don't bring work home, all possible. I try my best not to. Now, of course, when I was a substitute teacher, it was kind of hard because them kids could stress you the fuck out. But for the career I'm in now, I try to leave it at work. So no, I don't. But I just sit back and listen. If I, give some word advice, if I'm talking to a young man, I don't have a problem with sharing. I'm kind of hesitant sharing with women because I don't want them to take it the wrong way or make it look like I'm trying to, make a pass at them or anything like that. So I'm kind of hesitant when I do that, but depending on how long have I known the person, I'll be willing to listen and share and see and realize how they move. But just some stranger out the blue, no, I'm not doing that.
I kind of want to speak about that work, like wife and husband. It's one of the reasons why it's important for you to know what's going on within your own household. I think you guys got to have communication, but you also got to be aware and paying attention because attraction is always going to be there. Whether you're married or not, you can't sit here and say that when you walk out the door that you don't check somebody out. So it's important for you doing the vetting process, seeing where that person's moral compass is and the mindset, how they view marriage. It's important. There are some people that just go to work and come home. There are some people that have to engage in a conversation with people because it's the type of work they do. But what it's all going to boil down to is, does that person has morals? Because a simple conversation that you guys didn't think would go somewhere, it can. And especially if they see that person every single day. If you go to work, some of these same people, they start to look a little different. I've heard people talk about it. You have to literally walk away for some months or some years and come back and be like, damn, that person, they ugly. But you keep spending time there, they just begin to look different because it's just what you're used to. It's just like if you're in a relationship, sometimes you don't even realize how much weight y'all picking up because y'all see each other every day. Outside looking in, it's like, damn, y'all picked up a lot of weight. So have the conversation. Be aware, as I can always speak from a man's perspective, be aware of your lady and how she's moving, what she's doing. She could be losing attraction for you. She may stay there, but she may not be happy because she had a vow, right? But you want your woman to continue to be attracted to you. So you have to keep yourself in shape. You have to do necessary work. Sometimes, and people shift, man. As you get older, you can't really explain it. Chemicals switch up in your body and they just change. All of a sudden, you're irritated with that snoring now. So she might not like your damn snore. She might not want to be in the same bed with you. So you might have to see if you can fix that issue in some type of way. And I think you got some things that go up your nose or something like to help you breathe better. But the shit is getting ridiculous. And now she don't even want to have sex with you no more. But if you one of those people that's not paying attention to what's going on inside your house, then she might be slipping away mentally. And then, once you lose them here, sometimes you can't get it back. And imagine her going to work. You guys don't even have conversations no more, but now she having conversations because it's about work. But next thing you know, it's a little bit more this day. And now they having full-blown conversations. Yeah, they keep it at work. They keep it at work, but they fucking at work.
It's to the point where you used to have those conversations when you got home from work that they automatically just cease to stop. You no longer talk about work. Work doesn't come up. It's because JR is right. They're just happy.
I'm glad I work from home. We all need to work from home. I'm glad I work from home.
Hey, don't think that they're not chatting it up in the back channels. That's still or the private video chats. Those tend to happen a lot. So
all I'm saying is that we humans. And so we'll be lying to ourselves if we think that they're obligated to mentally be in tune with us the entire time in a marriage. You have to work at it every day. You got to pay attention to each other, because if you don't, then somebody may mentally check out. It's a everyday. You got to work at it, man. You got to work at it if you want it to work. So that's all I got to really say on that, man. That it happens, man. It happens. You know, like think about the time they spend away from work versus the time that you guys interact. And don't let it be a corporate job, right? Like don't let it be somebody that's on their shit. Like don't let it be that when they go into the gym, she been trying to inspire you to get in shape, and then she go to the gym and see this chisel ass motherfucker. Shit can happen, man. Shit can happen. Or it could be the other way around too. Women got to keep themselves up in shape too. You know, they got to continue stimulating. They got to keep doing what they were doing to get them, because if they don't, then he might mentally check out. It's not on purpose, but we humans, and some people don't know how to shut whatever it is that shifts inside of their head, whatever chemical dip over somewhere else. They may not be able to control that. That control may have to come with you presenting something different to spark they shit up. Y'all just come home and y'all just moving around. He go out and cut the grass. He come in, he sit down. There's no communication going. Some women stimulated off conversation sometimes. Women want to hear that you unlearn some new shit. It's deep, man. And I don't think man how deep relationships are.
So, JR, you saying these women got to continue to compete? Is that what you're saying, JR?
Yeah, women got to continue to compete, but men do too.
I got you. We talked about that.
I'm not gonna lie. I hear that and I see that so differently. Especially if we're married, I should never ever feel like, nor should he ever feel like that he's competing to maintain his spot. If we're married, your spot is solidified. Now, the difference is it's not about competing, doing things with the mindset, if I don't do this, then he's going to leave. Or if I don't do this, then she's going to leave. The competition should be between you two in terms of I'm going to treat you better than you treat me, or I'm going to outserve you better than you outserve me.
That's competing, though, mistaken?
Huh?
That's competing.
Hold on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it should never be, the competition should never be where I'm feeling the reason I got to do these things is so I don't lose you to somebody else. That's what I mean.
It's not a competition so that he won't lose you to competition within himself. Men should always be competitive to be the best version of themselves. So that competition is with him. You know, that's what lights his fire. That's what keeps him motivated. That's what keeps them going. As a result, as a benefit, he's not gonna have to worry about you looking somewhere else, because he's focusing on making sure that he's at the top of his game always. Men should be competitive. Men should have that competitive mindset on their appearance, on the work they do. Like the people, the energy that they're putting out, like who they mentoring, they should be giving back. Men need to be competitive all the time. It has nothing to do with you. A man shouldn't be doing anything for that woman. He should be doing it because he's inspired to do it. You know, like I was coaching somebody, do a little coaching, talk to people, right? And one of the things that I told him was that when you go to the gym, when you lead a gym, you should just feel dominant. You should just be one to just tear shit up. You know, you shouldn't just be going. I had a nice. Was your workout intense? You should feel like if you walking in the crowded room when they bumping shoulders with you, you knocking people's shoulders back. Like, damn, all right, big homie. Because you just feel dominant. So if you go into the gym, you're not feeling like that, you ain't working hard enough, bro. You ain't working hard enough. Shout out to my guy Steph, man. Steph be having a conversation with me too, man. But there's just something that just comes with it, man. That comes with that healthy aggression, that healthy hunger, because it should trans over into the bedroom. He should be flipping you around because he just dominant. And in return, like the plus is the women like it. Like, what woman doesn't like a man that's at the top of his game? It's not for you. It's not for you. But if he lose you, guess what? He still got options.
But JR, I meant in the sense of what you were saying. You said, you know, men, women, you know, you got to keep yourself right, you know, men, because you don't know what might switch and then they go look for somebody else. What I'm saying is I should never feel like that in my relationship. I should feel secure in my relationship. Not to say that I need to, you know, gain 500 pounds. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, even if I do gain weight, I should never be in a situation where I feel like I have to compete in order to keep him with me. Now, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't take care of myself. It doesn't mean that he doesn't tell me, listen, babe, you know, I know you know, had a baby, but it's been, you know, our child 15 years ago, you know, 15. That's not, you know, baby weight no more. Like, what we gonna do? You know, I'm not saying that he should not be able to say, these are some things that I need you to work on. But it should never be that because I don't look the way that I looked when you met me at 18, that now I'm feeling insecure or I'm having anxiety because I'm like, I know I don't look like that. And if I can't maintain it, then he's going to leave me for somebody else. Like, I should never, ever feel like that. I don't think anybody in a relationship, especially if you marry, should ever feel like there's room for somebody else to take your spot. If you feel like that, something ain't right.
You got to compete, man. Look here. I compete in the bedroom to see if I can make my lady bust enough before I get one. That's how I compete. That's part of competition. That's what happens.
I think that's different. You're not doing that out of fear that she's going to go somewhere else and you may give her 3 nuts in the session, but man, this dude here look like he might give me 5. You know, like, you're not competing in that manner. You're competing to be the best for each other. And I think that's exactly how you should compete.
But that's competing though. That's the sole difference. You may say it in a nicer, more flowery type way, but that's what you're doing. You're competing regardless of what.
I think what's being mixed up is the end goal.
She's saying on the outside, she don't want to compete with people on the outside, whereas you're competing on the inside of your relationship.
Correct. I should never feel like somebody else is going to be able to come into our relationship to take my spot.
But I do think we have to be realistic.
Yeah. If you get your man looking at another woman, right. I mean, you're gonna do okay. Why is he looking at her? Like, what about her? Is he keep looking at her or keep liking certain pictures that on IG? Why is
that men are visual?
It doesn't have to be a bad thing just because you want to remain at the top, or if you notice it, right, you may notice some hint. Maybe he did like an Instagram picture. Maybe when y'all was at the movie theaters, he was staring a little bit hard at that scene or something like that. That should be motivation. Like, okay, I see he liked that. Let me make sure I do that. It's not that you losing, but as humans, I think that we naturally attracted to people. It doesn't mean that you're going to do anything wrong.
I don't think you're blind. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think you're blind. Like, there are times where I'm out, I'll see a bad chick myself, be like, damn, you see that? Like, it's not a matter of feeling like that. I understand men are visual, so are women. You don't go blind just because you get married to somebody or you're in a relationship. I think the only thing that I'm saying is I shouldn't feel intimidated or feel like my relationship is about to end because he's giving me the vibe, so to speak, that he's seeing a younger, prettier, tighter woman, and now he may act upon that, and then I might lose my position in his life. That, I think that's more of what I'm getting at.
Maybe the wording is different, right? Like, whatever it is you need to resonate, the main point is to keep yourself together, keep yourself together. However you want to receive it, whatever tune it needs to be played, whatever tone, the goal is to make sure that you be the best version of yourself at all times. We know in the world that we live in, and we can have morals and all of that, right? That there is something that looks appealing. So whatever that appealing may be, you just make sure that you're satisfying that person. I mean, like, you can never go wrong with being in shape. I never heard somebody say, I prefer my man to be fat. You know, I prefer my woman to be fat. So we can all come to the conclusion, maybe 99.9, and nothing ever perfect, that you can never go wrong with this. You can never go wrong with learning how to cook. You can never go wrong with orgasming them 6 times. You can never go wrong with just certain things. I could say it's safe to say. So if you're more leaning on that side, when you look at things, I can never go wrong by cleaning up this house. I can never go wrong by making sure this thing is done. Like, it's just whatever it is, just understand it. Life is simple. We overcomplicate it. Relationships are simple. Learn how to, you can never go wrong by communicating more. You can never go wrong with using the word I prefer, or saying I like it like this. We go back and forth. It's simple. Be at the best version of yourself.
But there's a reason why people talk about keeping up with the Joneses, because they trying to compete just to keep up with everybody else. That's the reason why a lot of y'all have social media, to try to see what's good going on out there, so I can go out there and get the same thing or better. You see your neighbors, all of a sudden they got a nice white picket fence up. Now you want to get yours fence, maybe go a couple inches or a foot taller than their privacy fence now. Or they got certain things going on with the exterior of their home. Well, baby, I like to see our yard looking just as beautiful and plush as their yard. Why can't we have that? That's you competing with yourself inside your mind with other people around you. You're doing it all the time on a regular basis. Now, I understand most ladies, y'all find it to be the word compete as a negative term, but it's not, because you do it at work. You do it when you sit there about, well, such and such got a raise, such and such got this promotion. Well, what the hell she get that promotion for? What? Well, shit, I work better than her. I do better work than her. Now you competing with yourself to try to outshine or do better than the next person, so you can get that next opportunity for that promotion. You compete all the time. It's just sad that we don't want to compete to keep our husbands or our wives. That's the sad part about it, because you feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't have to do that. No, you should. You should want to work hard to keep your marriage fresh, keep your marriage up, and keep it going in a positive and right direction. You should want to do that. Maybe we have less divorces. Just maybe. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Healthy competition. Nothing wrong with it. Healthy competition. I mean, just kind of sit on it, man. We'll kind of follow up next week or something like that. Kind of follow up. If we sat on it a little bit later, marinate. All right, y'all. It's a great show. It's a great show. Great, healthy discussion. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know that everybody on the panel pretty much has YouTube. I know Precious mentioned she has a show right after this, right, Precious?
Yes, at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're talking about adoption and foster care. So we talk about on Sundays.
All right, there you go. Amira will be live tonight. She'll be live tonight, 9 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you guys tap into that. I'll have it up there shortly. Make sure you guys give Jay a story to tell. Follow Louise on Instagram with Louise_DSGN for design. You can catch Miss Taking here on the Lapeef Network as well. And Miss Taking out. I had to give you your flowers. You're getting a lot of better with your perspectives. So I'm just saying, like, a lot of it is coming together. I'm like, damn, she said some profound stuff today.
And I'll give Lapeef Network credit. I'm gonna be honest, like, even it's some stuff like how they have that saying, you chew the meat, spit out the bones. There's a lot of bone spitting, but I have been getting some of that meat. So thank you.
Okay. You got some of that meat. Okay. It's all making
set you up for that one.
You started that. You
soundboard drop.
Ladies love the meat. Now she's saying that she's loving it.
She said her husband, I got her right. So now she's speaking her tongue now on the platform. Okay, there we go, man. Shout out to your husband. You know what I noticed, that if you go to a church, when they married, it's okay to talk about it. So, shout out to your husband for sowing that seed in the house. Hink in the Basement. Make sure you guys check him out, man. Great platform as well. He's doing things. Hink's perspective. He has a firm perspective, man. He has that. It just hit, man. I see he got a lot of fans in the chat, so everybody loves Hink, man.
Old school Southern.
Yeah, man. Hink is a solid dude, man. I can't wait to collab with you in person, brother. So I'm gonna have to check you out, man. Maybe take that old school. Yeah, the old school look right, man. I saw it inside, man. Look nice, man. Look nice. I'm gonna give me an old school one of these days, man.
I know that's right.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for your perspectives today. Again, family in the chat and the people that's not in the chat, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you on the next one. We out, y'all. Last track, family. Shout out to the sponsor, T channel. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way out. Y'all make sure y'all catch a mirror tonight, guys, on the Lapeef Network. On behalf of the Lapeef Network, just want to say thank you guys for your constant support. Shout out to all my Green Gang in the